guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Well, it's an hola bonne noite. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. It does seem a bit weird saying Good Morning Portugal at 7 o'clock in the evening here in Portugal. Hope you're well. And if you're here, it's probably to meet our lineup of distinguished speakers and friends of this community this evening. Anna Caramujo is joining us in a minute or so of Savvy Cat, of course. And she's got a Savvy Cat with her this evening. For those of you who love cats, you'll get to meet one of her cats tonight. Sarah Davey will be joining us at 7:15, 7:30. Stephen White will be with us. Vitor Costa, who you saw in the opening sequence there at 7:45. On the hour, Heather Binder will be joining us, Boots on the Ground Portugal. And last but not least, certainly not, the man in the Mino. Bit of Tony time for you in the evening. All of these folks used to joining us in the morning, of course. Some of them preferring the evenings, it has to be said. So maybe this will be a thing in the future. But yeah, Antonio joining us at 8:15, taking us up to 8:30, where if you'd like to, you can join us as a guest in our Portugal Club weekly social. We have an informal gathering every Tuesday evening at 8:30. And James is usually there. The old guy in Europe is usually there at the 8:30 gathering, making people feel comfortable and welcome. And we'll chat more. Well, it's going to be pretty informal anyway, but that'll be super informal and easygoing. If you'd like to join us for that, I'll give the link later on, and that'll be a Google Meet a little bit later as well. So I'll pop that up on the screen, and you'll be able to join us there. But for the time being, stay right where you are, and we'll go now and talk to Savvy Cat, Anna Caramujo. Come on, let's make some noise, shall we? Nice big round of applause for the Savvy Cat. Here she is. Oh, your cat's gone now, Anna. How are you this evening?
She's still here. She's just a bit lower.
Oh, bless her. There she is. Which one is this? What's her name?
This one is Doro. She's
Doro.
my black cat. And then I have my gray cat over there. My gray cat is super jealous. So if the black cat is within a meter, she won't stay close. It's like she has to be pet exclusively.
Oh, cats are funny creatures, aren't they? They really are. So you've got company with you this evening. And I think you were one of the main reasons for us doing this, actually, one of the inspirations this evening to, let's chat. Because of the US election, it certainly put Portugal on the agenda for people, again, who are maybe considering Portugal anyway. It may have hastened their decision. And for us, it never went off the agenda, of course. But if you suddenly find yourself Portugal curious, especially for a 2025 move, you're in the right place this evening. And that's the first question. Anna's going to be with us for 15 minutes or so. Probably have a chat with Sarah when Sarah joins us. But that first big question, Anna, is, in your view, Portugal still a good place to move to?
Yes, I think it's a very attractive place, especially with the current instability that is happening in the US. And a lot of it comes down also to the safety, especially of minorities, as Trump is known to not be particularly welcoming in that sense. And I think that whoever won, it would be a similar situation because there was a very big division.
Yes.
But overall, I think the thing that it's important to talk about is the possibility of a wave of immigration of Americans, that it's quite likely, and the impact that may have and how to make that impact a positive one. Mm-hmm. So I think those are the important things that need to be talked about. So as I was saying, I think it's very likely that we will be having a wave of immigration ever since the election finished. There is, of course, it's not easy to move to a different country. It's not like people can just jump in a plane tomorrow and come to Portugal, right? There's a lot of that needs to be done.
Yes.
But the amount of people that have been reaching out and making calls with us, like we have our call schedule full this week and next week, and even calls booked for December already,
Really?
which hasn't happened in a while. Like when I started this business and I was the only person doing lifestyle relocation in Portugal, at that time, and actually you were the first person that made me visible. I had a
That's
three
nice to know.
months waiting list at that time, and
Did
actually
you?
it was just me, right? I just had a
Wow.
3 months waiting list just to people to talk to me and organize things.
Yeah.
And I think we may get to the not the 3 months hopefully point again, but maybe to the point of wait list again. And the question is, of course, I am still a small agency. I'm not someone that's doing this on my own like I was almost 4 years ago, isn't it? It was
Amazing, isn't
in
it? Yeah.
2021.
Yeah.
So almost 4 years ago, February 2021, when I launched this business, and it was kind of something completely new on the market. Now there is a lot more people doing it similarly. But like I was saying, I'm still a small team. It's me, and I currently have 7 employees, 5 of which are agents. So I
Mhm.
still have a fairly limited capacity. And of course, I'm not the only one. There's lots of people that will be doing these things on their own or working with other people, and that's all fine. Now, the important thing is how can you minimize your impact? Because immigration can be a good thing or a bad thing, have a good impact or a negative impact on the home country that you're going to.
Yeah.
And sometimes all that takes is a bit of thoughtfulness.
Well, that's
And
right. I mean, you're getting ahead here in an excellent way. You know, how do people need to prepare? And that's a really good consideration. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, tell us more.
yeah, so basically, I often tell, and this is often one of my strong talking points, and that is we don't want prices to inflate. And it's true. I'm a local. I don't want prices to inflate, but I only have so much control over it, right? There is something called supply and demand, and we cannot control it. We cannot control the prices in Lisbon. I mean, I don't like them, but I cannot change them. So this is all very relative, and often from an American perspective, I mean, a 600,000 two-bedroom apartment in Lisbon may be considered cheap for Americans and even for the Lisbon market prices. But sometimes a 200,000 three-bedroom townhouse in the interior of Portugal may be overpriced. And it's about working with the local market and understanding the local market and not just buying something because it looks cheap. It may or may not be. There is a lot of factors here. And I think it's very important to at least put some effort into this. I mean, it will be probably a lot easier to go into those instant deals where you have guaranteed profitability and so on and so forth. But these kinds of deals, they are very often inflated from a local perspective and very often relying on this foreign market that tends to have completely different prices.
Mhm.
And of course, you have different tiers of the market, right? You have the luxury market, and the luxury market will always be the luxury market and work on a different level as the normal market. And it's still a factor. I mean, there has been so many talks of these crazy multi-million dollar apartments and houses being sold in Portugal. I mean, it's a different market, it is, but are they really worth that much? I often question. I mean, I've seen things and I've worked with clients that have a very good budget, and we usually try to look to things that are, actually worth it. Have the finishings, have the size, have the plots, land. Having a big budget, it often means that you can get something better. But it's important to actually make this thought. Okay, is this better or is this inflated?
Yeah. Or is it just convenient? Because that's part of it, I suppose. You're paying
Yes,
for
because
convenience.
usually this kind of deals, they can be made very fast. They are kind of prepared in that way.
Yeah.
And in a way, you are also paying for that convenience. But at what cost does that come?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said. Good to know then. So maybe that's getting people to take a more leisurely approach rather than getting desperate and jumping at the first offer that comes their way that seems turnkey and easy and perhaps a little bit overinflated, and you and your team can help people unpick those perhaps overinflated
Yes.
deals.
I mean, the big thing that we do is verifying everything and look at things from a local perspective. So sometimes we'll say, okay, I wouldn't be able to buy this because I don't have the budget. But from a market perspective, this is a fair price.
Yes.
And another thing that we do is that we do, the technical inspection with the engineer to try and make sure as much as possible that you don't have any unwanted surprises and things that show up later on, which is a very common problem in Portugal, as you know.
It does happen from time to time, doesn't it? So you can help with that sort of heartache and stress as well, yeah?
Yes,
By
we
putting
do try to make things as safe and as thorough as possible.
Yeah, you made a very good point as well just now about how there are a number of people now in this space of helping people move to Portugal. You were one of the first. You're an early person, early team into this. And I think the point here, you'll hear from a number of people tonight on this live stream who can help you move to Portugal. But it's about getting the right fit, isn't it? Finding the team, the people that work for you. What more might you say about that, Anna? Because it does make
I
a
think
difference.
one of the reasons that I started this company was also looking at things from an outsider perspective. Because when you come from a different country, you don't know the country that well. You may know about Lisbon, about the Algarve, about Porto, because you've heard of them, because they're very touristic. You may have visited for a week or so, but are they truly the places that are more aligned with the lifestyle that you want to have? That was one of
that? Yes, how do you know that? Yeah,
that was one of the reasons I created this, is to have this lifestyle service where people come to us and they tell us their dream, their lifestyle, what they want their new life to be. And then we do our work as locals and as people who know their country very well to try and match them to the best location and best property possible within those requirements.
Yes.
And like I said, sometimes there's places that people haven't even considered.
Yeah.
And sometimes those end up being the right places.
Yes, indeed. And how are you going to know that without the insight and expert knowledge of people who know the territory in the way that Savicat, Anna Caramuja here and her team at Savicat know. Place in the Sun apparently today was from the Silver Coast. I'm in one of those, Ian. I've not seen it yet, but I did help out on one of those TV productions, and it was in Caldas de Rainha on the Silver Coast. And this is Coach Turner demonstrating his grasp of Portuguese geography, though somehow also went to Miranda de Corvo and Lausanne, which of course are not on the Silver Coast. They're more central Portugal locations, but they're not places you didn't immediately know about. And that's the sort of place that your team can guide people to, right, with that insider knowledge.
Yep, that's about it. So basically we'll help them and make sure that it's aligned. Like sometimes they want to live somewhere that they don't want to live with a car. That tends to be the city center. Sometimes they want to have somewhere with a mountain view, a sea view, and then work with the budgets. There's really, really a lot of things to consider. And then, of course, all the bureaucratic process that we support with of getting all your documentations, your NIF number, your bank account, and getting your process reviewed by a lawyer, getting all the deals and negotiation made by a local person and all the intermediaries, so it wastes a lot less time on your end.
Yes.
And yes, then the legal service, the technical inspection. In the end, we just make a package where we take you from start to finish, and all is included in that package.
Bit of hand holding, really, isn't it? And confidence that you can get from Savicat Realties. You can see on the screen there, savicatrealty.com. That's flown by. I've got you for a few more minutes, and I think you'll cross over with Sarah in just a moment anyway. But
yeah, I'm actually pretty curious to see her feedback about the prices. Just the other day, I was seeing on TV, the national TV, saying that an economist was giving a comment saying that last time Trump got elected, the dollar went up. But then like 6 months in, the dollar went down because he didn't keep up what he said he would do. I'm kind of curious to see how that will go on.
We'll find out. And I usually make mistakes about my presumptions about currency. So thank goodness We've got Sarah joining us with the expert view on that. Coach Turner, Mrs. T and I are in Portugal in February. We're heading to Santarém and hopefully Abranches, both great cities. I know
Yes.
Sylvie Cat is a fan. Are you a fan of both those places, Santarém and Abranches?
I'm a fan of them from an investment perspective because they are kind of under the radar and have a lot of potential and will definitely be growing in price and interest in the next few years.
Agreed. Been to both of those towns and absolutely love them. You're absolutely right. They're not very well known and they're beautiful and they've got a lot of potential within them. Now, obviously, you'll have your sales pitch about Portugal and the weather, the food, the people always comes into that. What are you finding out? Perhaps more interestingly and less predictable, what are you finding out from clients at the moment? What are their top concerns and interests at the moment? If you can share some of that sort of insight.
It tends to be the same things there was, honestly, safety
Really?
and healthcare.
Healthcare and what was the other one? Safety.
Yes.
Really? Right. Okay. So
and then there's also the education, having access to education in Europe at a lot lower cost.
Yes.
And then, of course, from my international clients, some of them, it's another option, another house in another international city they have. There's a bit of everything, really. But yes, overall, the popularity and the touristic popularity of Portugal definitely made a big impact on the international interest.
Very good, very good. And talking of towns as you have been, Santarém and Abranches there, your coverage is national, isn't it? It's
Yes.
a whole of Portugal.
It's continental Portugal. I did try to go to the islands in 2022, but that was a whole ordeal. So at the moment,
Really?
to
Oh, okay, fair enough. And you've been to America as well, doing your research and setting up over there in the United States as well. So it's amazing what you've done in those 4 years that you just mentioned. Time has flown, Anna, hasn't it? February 21 is when you started. That's quite extraordinary. My concern is the winter weather. Now, that's a quickie, perhaps, then, before Sarah.
I think that, some people kind of downplay or overplay the whole weather thing. Like Algarve is known as the 300 sunny days per year paradise, and then a lot of people get worried about the north, that it gets too cold and so on. We're actually coming on a cold wave right now, and I very much doubt that it will go under 10 degrees. And I only saw snow in Portugal for the first time in my life 2 years ago. It doesn't really. It's only snows in Serra da Estrela, and you kind of have to go there on purpose. The first time I saw snow in my life was like in the Pirineos, and I went there on purpose from Barcelona, and I was like 14. So,
right.
But yeah, the temperature difference. There's definitely some temperature difference, and it rains a bit more. But it's nothing drastic, really. It's not that bad. Honestly, I'm not someone that gets too bothered by rain either. I honestly find it positive with the tendency towards drought that the world is having. Having more precipitation and having water deposits is a very positive thing.
It is. And I think the important consideration with that is the construction of your house, isn't it? The weather is manageable as long as you've got a house that manages the weather well, if you see what I mean. So sometimes poor construction,
energy efficiency.
Sometimes a poor construction can make your winter quite miserable if you've chosen incorrectly or haven't had the right advice. And as Anna said, they can help with that with the technical report. And I think there are a lot of opinions on that, but that's a key issue. You don't want to be in a damp, miserable house. If even though it's not sub-zero or very, very cold compared to what you're used to in the UK, that will be my concern there, is to make sure you've got a decently built and insulated and energy efficient house rather than worrying too much about the external climate and weather conditions. And anyway, Ian, if I can show you the weather today and give you some Portuguese insight, and we'll get Sarah on just after this. This is what the weather was like today. We've still got dinosaurs roaming not the streets exactly, but certain parts of Portugal, like Lourinhã. You'll see a brontosaurus, quite friendly. It's a vegetarian, nothing to worry about. And that beautiful San Martino. We've got a verão de San Martino. We've got the late summer, the Indian summer here, as promised by Saint Martin. So there it is. And in the last couple of days, this is what it looked like at the top of the hill in San Martino de Porto. That's not too shabby, is it? It was very mild when I was out there in that sunset. And then last night, we were able to walk along the beach, and that was the site that we saw walking along the beach there as well. So really lovely at the moment. Oh, and these have just come onto the market or about to. It's in these. These are rather snazzy in San Martino de Porto. Janela de Bahia, I think, the window on the beach there, and that's the view you'll see from those apartments, which I think are rather special. Anna, stay where you are for a moment, because I'm sure you and Sarah will have something to chat about. Maybe I'll go off and have a cup of tea while you two have a chat. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Good evening to you, Sarah. How are you?
Whatever nice.
We ended up meeting anyway.
Yes.
Was that a plan? That's
Yes.
good. I'm glad you
Yeah.
facilitated that. All right, wonderful. So you're a very important person to have here tonight, Sarah, with the strength of as I understand it, and I always mess this up, and you put me right, and thank goodness you do. It looks like for dollar holders, the dollar is strong at the moment, so you're going to get some good value for your euros. Am I right on this occasion?
Yes, you are.
Wow.
Yay!
Okay. All right. Yes. Well done, Carl. Fantastic. Tell us more. Tell us more.
Well, to be fair, it is a volatile time at the moment. I mean, when we saw Trump come in, we saw the rates drop, or certainly in people's advantage if you're selling US dollars and buying euros. I think in one day, we saw the US dollar strengthen by 2%. So to put that into monetary value, if you were buying 250,000 euros, the difference is about 6,000 US dollars cheaper to buy those euros. So that's what we're talking about when I talk about managing exchange rates. A lot of people, I completely understand, you leave it to the last minute. When someone tells you need to pay this invoice, or you're buying a property, that's what you're focused on. But it's these exchange rate movements, that's where you can maybe see the biggest difference in whether it's going to cost you more or it's going to cost you less. And that's really what we're trying to get people prepared for, is that when we see these movements, if it's in your favor, for example, you can take advantage of them. Or if we see rates moving against you, it's all within your time frame, because if you've got time to play with, that's different. But if, for example, you wait and you need to make a payment, you need to make a payment this week, then you're restricted to the rates that are happening this week or this day that you need to make that payment. But doing it further in advance just gives you a few more options. At the moment, it is a volatile time. The thing is, we're really seeing ups and downs, because yes, at the moment we're seeing US dollar strength, Trump's come in, but there's a few different things. So for example, Trump may look to increase tariffs, which could re-accelerate inflation, which would mean that the Fed may need to increase interest rates to curb that. So that would strengthen the US dollar. But then on the other side, Trump is very much pro-business. He really wants to cut interest rates because that would help the economy and that would help businesses. So therefore, cutting the interest rates, that would weaken the US dollar. So there's lots of different things really going forward that we're watching. Yes, there's short-term maybe gains for people. So now may be a very good time to be buying your US dollar, selling US dollars and buying euros. But what we're looking at going forward is what's happening with inflation, what's happening with interest rates, what is the strategies going forward, whether it be increased tariffs. The thing is, at the end of the day, Trump will probably increase government spending, but you need the corresponding tax hikes to feed into that. Otherwise, you've got a deficit. Then what are the trade agreements? And obviously, we know sort of Trump's style is probably a little bit more probably out there. Again, gets the markets a little bit in a flurry. Yes. We're talking about then there's a bit of safe haven, but then they flock into the US dollar. So there's lots going on that it is a little bit hard to forecast, because, as I said, some things will increase the value of the US dollar and some things will weaken.
Yes.
And it's sort of really, we're looking at short term, medium, long term, and really a lot sort of unknown depending on what strategies and what things that he puts in place, and then the impact that has on, as I said, inflation, the Fed, and then the US economy. But then also it filters in to, at the moment we're seeing very good levels for people who are in the UK, that they're selling sterling and buying euros, because it looks like that, what we're sort of seeing is maybe these increased tariffs will have a knock-on effect to Europe, and that's obviously slightly negative. So it is also the global impact of what Trump's doing as well, to what that does to the Eurozone or to the UK as well, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and also the other part of this, which I think people love Spartan for, and the purpose of this live stream tonight and this webinar, if you like, is to find the right fit for you, the right people to help you, and get some insight and some support and inspiration about moving to Portugal. And you work on that as well, don't you, to suit the profile of the person buying the currency. So they might be like sell, buy. They might fancy themselves as a Wall Street trader, and you can work with that, can't you? But if they're a bit more conservative or scared even of these sorts of deals, and it makes them feel really nervous, you
It's
can coach
psychological
them.
because it's down to the individual, their risk appetite, what's their personality as well. Because some people, and also what's what budgets they have available. Because that's the ultimate thing. Yes, you might think, oh, I'll wait and see, but what's your budget? So for some people, especially if you're buying property, what is your budget? And actually, sometimes working around this is a case of, all right, we all want a better rate and it to be cheaper, but what happens if it gets more expensive? Can you take that risk given the volatile that we're seeing at the moment? It may be a case of buying euros, protecting that risk. You know how much it's going to cost you, and that gives you a bit of peace of mind. That means you know that this property is going to cost you this, that maybe you've got this amount of money left over, that you can buy a car, or that you can afford that property. Because I think people underestimate the significance of rate movements and how much it could potentially cost them, and that suddenly that property might not be as affordable. Or we've seen it with clients where they've budgeted for a property and a car, and now they can't afford the car because the properties cost more because of the exchange rate movement. And while sort of at the moment they're thinking, oh, the rates are great at the moment, the US dollar, it's costing me less to buy those euros, that's great. But again, if you're budgeting on that amount and that rate, if the rates then move against you and it costs you more, are you prepared for that? So that's what the conversations we're having is, what's your worst case scenario? What is suddenly unaffordable for you against what is affordable, and sort of managing that. And also that you can buy euros in advance. We can, even if you haven't got a Portuguese bank account, we can hold the euros. Even if you found a property, we can fix the rate. You can still have money held in high interest rate accounts in the US, and we can fix the rate with a 10% deposit.
Oh, that's good, isn't it? Yeah.
So there's a few different options, and I think having those conversations, you definitely discover what options are available.
So you could say, I just want this many euros, and I would have peace of mind if I could buy this many euros, because it would get my house and my car, and you could lock that. And have some peace of mind, which is, I think, it comes as news to some people. The other misapprehension possibly is, or to put it in a more positive way, you don't have to be a red braces wearing, spreadsheet loving whiz kid wheeler dealer, do you, to buy your currency from somewhere else other than a bank? Now, this is a big one, isn't it? Because some people will be thinking, oh, that sounds terrifying, having an account and buying currency. I've never done that in my life, except when I've been on holiday and I've done it with the bank. You make it very easy to do that, don't you? And we haven't talked about competitiveness here. It would be advantageous to talk to you and for people to discover that you don't have to be one of those whiz kid type people. You have all kinds of people who have Spartan Effects accounts, right? Grannies and granddads.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Regular folk. Old guys in Europe. He's a very satisfied customer as well.
I actually wanted to pop in here because we do work with Spartan, and a lot of our clients have, and they have given us very good feedback. And one thing I really like about Spartan is that more personal service. Because one thing is, when you are exchanging like $100,000, $200,000, I mean, you want someone on the other side. You don't want just a bot, just an automatic app.
Yeah, absolutely well said. Yeah, for sure. So
I think that's with all of the people that you work with, Carl, whether it be Anna, maybe Savicat, and we all. I think even myself, I mean, I've moved here, and that's the one tip I would say to people. Yes, obviously there is a payment for services within a certain degree, but using specialists, it just makes life so much easier, because it is stressful moving country. There's so much to consider, and sometimes your brain's a little bit, because there's so much going on. And having friendly, helpful people that just take care of things for you is wonderful. Because to me, I really wanted to move here. So, from a visa perspective, for example, you want to make sure that things are done correctly. I haven't personally bought a property, but if I did, I'd want somebody that, I overheard some of your conversations, and it's true. People talk to me about, this is going to be my first winter. You're going to find it like really cold. I come from Durham, which is near the Scottish border in the UK, so if I can survive that, I'll be fine. But the reality is that it's not just about the outside temperature, is about your house, how it's built, the insulation is slightly different. Although, as I said, you need to live in my parents' house, they just don't put the heating on. So.
Maybe they can provide a service to get.
But it's still that element. But again, you need somebody to look into that into more detail. Make sure you're buying the right type of house for you.
That
and
reassurance.
Again, it's having someone that is not going to take advantage of you because you're an expat, and I have seen that here, to a certain degree, that and the language barrier as well. Although everybody does speak English and it's very good, we're talking about certain people that maybe that might be a bit more difficult. So you want.
Well, we have a lot of accountability here, don't we? We have people who join us on screen every month, and we know where they live.
Yeah, well, that's true.
What I wanted to ask you as well, or if you could share briefly about, Sarah, you mentioned you moved to Portugal. This is about Portugal 2025 and how it's back on the agenda, the radar for a lot of people. But you're way ahead of that curve, and you moved here this year. And I think it's safe to say it's been a happy and fulfilling move for you. Could you say a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I blame all of you because that's why I'm here.
Yes.
And that includes clients. And that includes clients telling me how great it is here. But honestly, I don't regret it. It's the best move I've ever made. I mean, but again, always, before I came, I had the list of the pros and cons because it's a big move. And then coming here, I mean, someone said to me, what do you miss? Yeah, I do miss a few things. And yes, there's a few things that take a little bit longer here or there. But in the grand scheme of things, I can live with that, or that's why I've moved here. I want it to be a little bit of a slower pace of life, or a better life-work balance. And
like that. I mean, that wasn't too bad, was it? When we had lunch the other day, that's not too bad. And I'll tell you what, I've got another photo here. This is how relaxed you get when you live in Portugal. Look how relaxed I am here. To be fair, I think the kids have been messing around with my phone as well, but I look so peaceful and relaxed in that picture there, and that's what we're going to see. And a November day like this is just priceless, isn't it? And I'm guessing around Lisbon, when you're walking through the city and it's nice and warm and sunny, and the air's a little bit crisp as well, isn't it, in the morning and in the evening? It's just so fabulous. That's my experience of Lisbon. How is it for you over that way, Cascais?
Absolutely, it's lovely. I mean, for November, this is fantastic. I mean, back in the UK, like I saw an article, I think in a Daily Mail, it's always like that. But one of the ones that was today I saw was, I didn't click on it, but it said some cities in the UK haven't seen sun for like X number of days or whatever.
All month. I've heard it's all month. They're blaming it on some sort of climatic phenomenon, but all month they haven't seen any sunshine.
It depends where you come from.
Steve might be able to tell us about that in just a moment. I need to make some room on the screen. I'm so sorry, Anna, to do this. But did you want to?
I already stayed 15 minutes past my curfew, didn't I?
I know, but you're very welcome here. Is there anything you wanted to add or suggest or say to Sarah? Or
I think that's going back to what we were saying. Even in the north, we still have a lot of sunny days. Like here in Portugal, there's some rain towards the end of the week, but we still have like 2 sunny days every week lately.
Yes.
So it's really not as bad as people paint it.
That's right. And you're not looking like the guy on the left here, are you?
I do have like my you can see it, my coat here inside my house.
Yeah, but you're not wrapped up in an anorak and a hat. You haven't got a hat on like some people might at this time of year. Fantastic, Anna. Thanks so much for joining us, and congratulations on those nearly 5 years, right? Going into
4
years, going into February next year. That's a great achievement. So thank you very much for being here.
I hope to make it to 5, yes.
SavvyCatRealty.com. Cheers, Anna. Take care. Bye for now. There she goes. And Sarah, will you stay with us for a little bit longer? It might be that Steve has questions for you. So let's keep the applause going for this man and find out how it is in the UK, if that's indeed where he is. Good evening, Steve. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Booming, actually.
Perfect.
Very, very clear. Are you in the UK this evening?
Unfortunately, yes.
Have you seen any sunshine this month?
Sarah, after you said that, I was thinking about it. I definitely have not seen the sun in about 4 or 5 days now. So it's definitely true that we don't really get the sun here as much as we would like. But it's a great place to have a business, and also to as someone that has relocated from the UK to Portugal and Canada and different locations around the world, I will say that one of the things that I do appreciate about being in the UK is that it's an entrepreneur's paradise. But
Yeah.
I'm also starting to see that out of Portugal as well too.
Well, you're
I have
making
so
that
many
happen. You're
ideas.
part of making that happen here, to be fair, aren't you?
Yeah. I have 1,000,001 ideas of how to get rich, but there's only so much time that I have throughout the day.
Yeah. Well, a bit of focus goes a long way, doesn't it? And part of your focus is in putting on these events around Portugal. That's the most recent one, isn't it? That happened in Coimbra just recently, which I think was a big success there, and a very low ticket price, it has to be said, Steve. Some of these sort of entrepreneurial gigs, they want like, 3-figure sums, don't they? Sometimes 4-figure, because you're going to come along and do a mastermind and this and that, and network. You had all of that going on at this one, didn't you? For a mere €12.
Yeah, so we actually had about 40 people. It was like 38 or 40 people that showed up to the event. But what it was is, what we're trying to do is not so much make money from the event, but trying to have some exclusivity. So we don't just want anyone coming to the event to kind of say, oh, I want to sell my deal, or I want to do this, I want to do that. We want people that want to pay to be in that kind of environment where they are respected and also understand what other people are bringing to the room as well too. Sorry, my dog is driving me nuts. She wants to see
it's absolutely fine. Lots of people have brought their pets. Oh, look! Oh, my word. What a cutie. Okay. All right. So we had Anna with her lovely cat this evening. And who's this, Steve?
This is Lily.
Lily, good evening to you. Who wants looks like Lily wants a little bit of reassurance. Daddy's on a webinar, and she's getting ignored there, Lily. So everything's fine, Lily. You're going to be fine, and Daddy will bring you to Portugal one day as well to meet some lovely pooches over here.
Well,
So
I'm working on that for 2025.
Are you? Is that a little secret? You're letting out the cat out of the bag, as it were, this
no
evening?
Comments.
Oh, I tried. So what's next then in your apart from that? What's next in terms of plans and what people can come to and get to meet you?
Right now, we don't have any more events planned for the year. I kind of learned my lesson last year of planning an event at the beginning of December, and 2 people showed up. But the next event will be held in February. But until then, I'm working with a few people within the community to help provide property management services, proper property management services, not, just a real estate agent that finds a lead. It's people that take care of the maintenance, people that take care of the making sure tenants are filled inside of the properties, making sure that if there's any issues going on, we're trying to remove the attention away from the landlord so that they can just purchase the assets, and we can have companies like the ones that I'm trying to create that manage the properties so that we can have more rental properties on the market.
Well, I know you also said you're getting a crew together. You're getting some reliable, decent construction workers together, and a reliable team that you'll be behind. I was selling that. I met some people either later that same day on the Monday, or it must have been yesterday afternoon. And I said to this guy who's done a lot of construction work in the West Country in the UK, if you get over here, I know a bloke who would want to employ you. This bloke sounded great doing refurbs in the West Country of the UK. And it is a bit of a gap, isn't it, for a particular kind of worker that you're looking for. But that's great news as well. I'm afraid I haven't probably pitched you right yet. And that's probably the first question I should have asked you. What is it you can do specifically, Steve, for people who are interested in moving to Portugal in 2025? Because it's quite a broad subject tonight, but what's your angle on that?
Yes. So what I specialize in doing is finding lucrative investment opportunities for people that either want to relocate to Portugal and offset their mortgage, or they want to get on the property ladder for half of the cost, sometimes even quarter of the cost of what you would pay in the UK or Canada.
Well, that's fairly straightforward. That sounds attractive, doesn't it, Sarah?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Yes. How do people get in touch with you for that then, Steve?
You could Take a look at my website, which is www.homeminers.net. On the website, you can check out the investment opportunities that we have available in the Investor Hub. We also have a joint venture section where you can learn about joint ventures and how they work and how you can partner with us. And then we also have a section where you can contact us as well too. So we also, let's say you have a property or you inherited a property and you don't know what to do with it. Give us a shout. We can do an analysis of the property, of course, for 250 euros. But I think it's a good trade-off, 250 euros to see what your property is worth and what you can make out of it and what sort of exit strategies that you have available for yourself.
Very good. Okay, still to come this evening. We're not finished talking with you, Sarah or Steve, just yet, but to come this evening, Vitor Costa at 1:45. Heather Binder will be joining us at 8, and the man in the Mino, bit of Tony time for you at 8:15. I've seen a lot of him this week. So looking forward to another chat with Antonio Barbosa a little bit later on. Have you got any questions about currency and fluctuation, Steve, for Sarah this evening, or is anybody else for that matter? Do let me know if you do have any questions around currency. What about you, Steve or Sarah? Anything to add to this conversation this evening?
Sarah, anything?
No, I think I've touched on, as I said, there will be a lot of volatility going forward. I mean, I find that personally quite exciting, but obviously for people it's nerve-wracking, or it's sort of, then they don't know how much it's going to cost them, and it can make a big difference. But actually a lot of what the team usually end up talking to people about is obviously their life stories, because they become friends with them. I'm sure if they came over, there's loads of beers that they would be bought. But also it's just the process of moving the money. That's the thing that people forget about. You leave it to the last minute. Yes, that's fine, because you forget about it. But then you suddenly need to make a transfer, and it needs to be there tomorrow, and you've not thought about it. And that's where, even if you use your bank, a bank can take up to 5 days to move that money. Some banks have limits on how much you can move each day. Suddenly that's when people become more stressed, because it's not about what rate can you offer me against another provider, what rate can you offer me on the day, or was it cheaper to buy it last week or a month before. It's actually, now I can't get my money there in time to buy that property. Can I still buy that property because I'm not going to make that deadline in time? And that, to be honest, is the biggest stress for a lot of people that we're trying to avoid.
Very good. Excellent stuff. Thank you, Sarah. We'll make some space for Vitor, who'll be joining us in just a moment. The best way to get in touch with Sarah is gmp@spartanfx.co.uk. It's not a .com, it's a .co.uk. And you can open up an account way ahead of time. And it's never too early to open an account, right, Sarah? But better than...
No, just get in touch. We can do WhatsApp calls or video Zooms or whatever with you. Just have a quick chat. It's free consultation. Just get to know you, your time frames, your situation, what money you've got available, and we can try and come up with a plan or just give some tips. As I said, sometimes it's a case of that forward planning of, what do you need to put in place before you move, even if it's just not using us or moving your money just yet. It's, who am I banking with? Am I with the right bank to make that transfer? Do I need to set anything up with paperwork to sign with the bank to move big transfers when I'm not there? We've had clients that unfortunately have had to fly back in the past, but maybe they could have set up power of attorneys. Maybe they could have opened a different bank account. There is lots of different options, but again, it's just doing that preparation before you move.
Very good. Okay, nice big round of applause for you. Cheers, Sarah. We'll see you soon. All the best. It's so unceremonious, that, isn't it? Just like a button and then they disappear. So sorry, Sarah. Nothing bad meant by that. We've got Steve to talk to here now, and there was a good question that came in from Ian. Would you agree with this analysis? When people are buying property here in Portugal, should they allow another 9 to 10% for the cost of buying as well as the purchase price there, Steve?
100%. People, how do I put this nicely? I find
you don't. You're really honest with us, baby. Go on.
I find a lot of people think that when you purchase a property, it includes the cost of legal fees and transfer cost and stamp duty and IMT and IMI. But there are other fees that need to be had when doing this. Sometimes even there's liens on property, or let's say, for example, someone owes money to the bank. A lot of people don't consider, oh, wow, the price of this house is really low, but they don't consider the repercussions of what that could entail purchasing bank properties or purchasing, something that is a quick transaction. You really have to. I definitely recommend working with professionals, and like with Spartan FX, it's something that I didn't really understand when I first started learning about it, and I think we actually talked about this before privately about what it is that FX companies do. And the biggest thing for me is making sure that the money is ready to transfer so that we can close deals quicker. Okay, and always making sure that I'm working with a real estate agent that is similar to Anna, for example, that really understands her market and understands what's going on, not so much for the relocation purposes, but she's boots on the ground and lets us know, okay, the paperwork on this house isn't exactly correct. Let's go and do this. Or if we need the money transfer as quickly as possible, why don't we just have the money sitting in the FX account ready to go so that we are able to get lower prices because we're able to close quicker.
Yeah, get those ducks in a row. And that's the benefit of working with pros and people who know what they're doing in the location specifically as well. You make a very good point there. This other point, thanks, Steve, for that, from the Portugueser. I don't know why he's saying this. Vodka, that's actually water in there, in case that's what you're trying to suggest, the Portugueser. He does have a question as well. Have you seen the Idealista valuation tool? What is that? And he says it's very optimistic. Do you have the same? I think that's probably a criticism, isn't it? It's a veiled criticism there. It's very optimistic. What are they talking about?
So there's on the Idealista website, there's or Idealista, they have a tool where it gives you an evaluation of what your property is worth. I find 7 out of 10 times it's not actually the greatest tool to use. And there's other. I never rely on one source to get my information from. I'm the type of person where you could tell me something once, but I would like to find out from other resources what others are saying and kind of take the median of that answer.
Understood.
So there's other resources that you can use. There's Casafari, there's Alfredo, there is Idealista. Sometimes you can even get marketing tools. So like there's some apps that you can get for Chrome that can use AI to scrape the data from different websites. You can also use ChatGPT. It's not always the most dependable place to do it, but it can scrape the internet and give you some information of what you're looking for. So I kind of use that as a basis to be like, okay, this is what it says, and then I'll back up all the information of why. Okay.
Very interesting. Okay, so fair enough. They've got a valuation tool worth having a look at, but not in isolation. Bring numbers, a number of sources together to come up with a useful picture there, I think is what you're saying, Steve. Excellent. We've got some lovely comments, and we've got some hellos as well, and mention of Miranda de Corvo. It's come up a few times. A hotspot, definitely. Miranda de Corvo is our hometown. It was on the Place in the Sun, which is meant to be from the Silver Coast. However, also went to Miranda de Corvo and Lausanne today, and that's where Mike is as well. Our hometown, and our daughter attends school in Lausanne. What a great initiation that's been for her. It's been amazing hearing about your daughter there and her success in that local school. It's been fantastic. She's had a warm welcome, and she's doing ever so well there. Jackie's also with us tonight. Hello. I was trying to figure out who that was, OB and AP. Of course, it's one bag and a passport. How are you doing? I'm looking to visit Miranda de Corvo in the new year, and I can't wait. Hope the sun has been kind today for you. It's been a beautiful day here. And it's been sunny in the UK all day, where Ian Turner, Coach Turner, is. Hopefully the same when they arrive in Funchal. They're off to Madeira. We're featuring on Madeira a lot on our opening sequence this morning, so take a look at that. As well as a property from Vitor Costa, which we'll talk more about to him when we see him on the screen in just a moment. We've also got Squire of the Shires. Good evening to you. Boa noite, todos. And Nubianet in California this evening. How are you, Nubianet? Tudo bem? Good to see you this evening. And that's the email, of course, for getting in touch with Sarah at Spartan FX. That's gmp@spartanfx.co.uk. And the rest of the lineup this evening. Vitor Costa in just a moment. Heather Binder will be joining us at 8. Antonio Barbosa at 8:15. And then you can hang out with us at our weekly Portugal Club hangout from 8:30 if you'd like to. And I'll put the link for that in the chat a little bit later on. Do you want to stick around and just say a quick hi to Vitor? I think you know this gentleman, Steve.
I know him very well.
And you're still speaking to each other. That's fantastic. Let's bring him onto the screen.
Hello, guys.
Vitor.
And yes, we were just slandering you today on the phone, Carl.
Really? My face and ears are so red this evening. How are you, Vitor? We have been talking about the weather and how cool it can get in Portugal. How's it been for you today? You've got a bit of that Verão de San Martino going on up there, haven't you?
It can. So, also, fair disclaimer before we begin: if this falls down, I'm on the phone right now because I'm on the move. But so if something like this happens, just to be expecting. So
right.
yeah, I mean, when it started raining like a few weeks ago, I had just a few listings ready to come on the market, and I was like, oh geez, here we go. We're gonna get a few months of rain, and I won't be able to take pictures, am I? But then it just rained for like 2 or 3 weeks. Now we have the sun again, but today was quite a bit colder than normal. Yeah, I mean, the challenge here for me is that I've lived here my whole life, so I don't know comparing to other countries if it's colder or hotter or whatever it is, but it is getting colder, yes.
Very good. All right, Steve's gone. I think he's had enough of us both. But you can.
As he should. Yes.
I'll put his website onto the screen so that we can see that. Let's have a very quick look because you can book a call over there, and we'll do this for your website as well, to Vitor. Oh, he's come back. All is well. And there's his website for you to take a look at. Let's bring. I thought he got the hump and disappeared there. He's back with us now. So yeah, book a call or download the brochure for the Home Miners property investment for here in Portugal. Coming back to you, Vitor, what are these properties you've got on the market then? Can you give us a sense? I mean, we can take this question on the screen for granted. Let's go with the fact that Portugal is still a great place to move to. I think we're all agreed on that. That's we're sending out around the world. It's clear how the people who've been on this screen tonight can help people, and we'll find out a little bit more about you in that regard, Vitor, as well. But tickle our appetites, will you, with some of the new properties you're listing and the incredible value you can get in the north of Portugal?
Sure. And first and foremost, let me just say that the best country to move to is the one that aligns with your goals and plans. So it may be Portugal, it may not be. I certainly love Portugal, and there are many good reasons to come here, but each person is different.
Well said, yes.
The properties that are new coming on the market, it's a really interesting property. It's in Valongo, which is just outside of Porto, so you're really close to there. And it's a huge property that, 4 bedrooms, 3 floors. You have an enormous living room with an office space upstairs, another couch, and a big area downstairs, and dining room, pool. You have a game room on the bottom with a pool table. So you have 2 pools, right?
What?
2 pools. You have a pool table and you have a swimming pool.
I see what you did there. Sorry, I thought we had a pet pool for a minute there, but that's probably another listing that you've done.
And it's for 748,000, which I understand it's not on the cheaper side of things, but for people who have that lifestyle and like those kinds of properties. Certainly not for everyone, but it is a really interesting property, really nice. The owners are really nice people, and it's just too big for them, so they need to go to somewhere smaller. We're just finishing up with the pictures. We're about to upload it. It should be on the market by the end of the week.
We have a little bit of a glimpse in our opening sequence, so you can see that every morning on the Good Morning Portugal show, just a little taste of that. And I was going to ask you how many millions. But there you go, great value, 750 pretty much for 750,000 for a house of that kind with 2 pools. So where was it again? Tell us the location, if you will.
It's called Valongo, Valongo.
So somebody who's thinking other parts of Portugal that they're more familiar with, that are better placed on the map globally. For example, how quickly could you get to Porto Airport from there?
I think about 15 minutes, if that.
1-5.
Yes, 1-5.
Oh, okay, all right, that's very handy, isn't it? And so that will open up. Right.
In like 5 to 10 minutes, you're on the highway or the freeway to get to Porto, and you're there real quick.
Wow, that's incredible. All right, so that might open up people's consciousness and minds towards that part of Portugal with that kind of value and a proximity to an international airport. Tell us a little bit more then about what Portugal Door can do, and do feel free to chip in, Steve, if you've got any grilling of Vitor to do this evening. And I'll put your website onto the screen as well, there, Vitor. Yeah, tell us about Portugal Door. How long have you been going?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the main core of Portugal Door is we're your allies in Portugal, right? My specialty is I'm a real estate agent. I love focusing especially on the buyers and tenants to help them find properties. We work with them exclusively. We vouch for them. They're the ones we're representing. And when it comes to other aspects of the relocation, we also provide those services. We can help people with the NIFs, bank accounts if necessary. Um, making sure all the paperwork is okay. Maria is focusing more on the integration part and in particular the Portuguese language. So we actually have a school community focused on helping people with learning Portuguese. It's only $10 a month, so it's criminal for the amount of value we're providing. And she's
Yeah.
she's working now on a calendar. That one is an extra $29, so it's $1 per day to teach you the Portuguese pronunciation. So every syllable, every sound, every letter, so you know how to pronounce it. It's very high value. And so we also connect people with experts on the areas when they need it. So, for example, if you were if a new client were to come to me, hey, I want to invest in Portugal, I want to get the big ROI and this and that. Honestly, I would refer them to Steve. I would give Steve a call. Hey, I have a client here. We need to get them something that makes sense financially. Because right now, I trust Steve more than 99% of the real estate agents in Portugal to invest in real estate.
Yeah. He's made quite a good entry into this market, hasn't he? There you go. He likes the cut of your jib there, Steve. Good to know. Fantastic.
I'll just say that it's not something that I've done alone. People like yourself, Vitor, I rely on your expertise of what you believe the market is worth as well too. So a lot of I don't want Portuguese people to feel like, oh, I'm this almighty person coming in as a foreigner to the country and blessing down with investments. The investments are held within Portuguese people.
The Pope of property in
Yes.
right. That's an interesting way of looking at it, right?
The point that I'm trying to get across.
The spirit of the ROI be with you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right. Sorry, Steve.
The point
go ahead.
I'm trying to get across is that Portuguese people need to understand what they have, and that's all I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to spread that knowledge, as I've explained numerous times over and over again. Although I'm based in the UK at the moment, the company is expanding because we do work with Portuguese people to expand the company over there.
Yeah.
So, for example, when I was talking about property management services, I was actually having a conversation with Vitor today of how we can possibly partner in the future for property management, where he will manage the Viana do Castelo side of things.
Very good. Excellent. I'm loving this. Loving this. The community working together here is fantastic.
Yes.
Great. That's the resource for learning with Maria there. Great value. And there you go. That's it. That's a school community. These school communities, I think, are very interesting. That's what we have our Portugal Club on as well. It's a great bit of technology from the amazing Sam Ovens. Some great value there if you want to learn Portuguese in a slightly different way. What would you say? Again, it's a bit like the right country for you is the one that is the best fit for you, Vitor. It's the same with learning Portuguese, isn't it? It's finding the right method that suits the way your mind works and the way you learn best. What would you say your angle is, or Maria's angle is, with Portuguese allies?
Right. So we like comprehensible input, and the audios we provide and the videos we provide, we try to make them humorous, entertaining, and in things that you will actually use in real life. So I think you've done our first calendar, right, which was about zero to hero, let's say, calendar, and it was focused on things like ordering a pizza or ordering takeout or scheduling an appointment at the doctor's office or rescheduling. So we like to teach practical Portuguese through immersion, because learning a language is not something that you learn, it's something you get used to. Right? So that's the part that can feel like a grind. And so we try to make things as entertaining as we can, because if you're having fun, if it's being entertaining, you can listen to it. It's easier to to spend some time on it, and then gradually you'll get more used to the language. So that's kind of our approach.
You do make it practical and fun. I suppose those are the two key words I'm taking from it: fun and practicality. That's the link to do it there. That's the school community where you can learn with Maria and Vitor to a certain extent there.
Yes, I'm the sidekick on that situation though. So
yes, indeed. I understand that, but some very valuable input from you from that point of view as well. So cheers, Vitor. Thank you very much. Steve, we'll let you go for the moment if that's okay. As we do, we'll make sure your contact details are on the screen so that people can get in touch with you. But cheers, Steve. And we'll just hang out with Vitor a little bit more. There's a couple of more questions I want to ask him. But thank you very much for the time being, Steve. All the best. And bye for now. Right, Vitor with us from Portugal Door. Also, the link to Portugal Door will go on the screen if you want to talk to Vitor. What are you hearing from a client point of view? I put this question to Anna earlier on. Obviously, we've all got our sales pitches, when it comes to presenting our endeavors and our organizations, the things we would like to say to attract attention. But what are you hearing from clients about Portugal? What's coming up there? The earlier keywords were safety, security, and healthcare. What else might you add to? I mean, I'm sure there are key concerns for your clients as well. But anything else you want to add to that mix? Anything that's interesting that's coming to you from people who are coming from around the world to Portugal?
That's a good question. And first of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of people come here because of the US political division. Yep. I don't usually talk about it in public, but I am aware of the things that are going on there. Yep. I'll just say that I have many friends who are very Democrats, others that are very much in the Republican side. And I can tell you that both of them, if the topic of politics never came up, you would have no idea what they were, because they're all good people. They all want similar things. They want a better life for themselves. And if you are hanging out with them, they're all nice people, in general. So my advice is politics isn't as big of a thing in real life as it is maybe on the internet. I don't know if being in the US, you feel a lot more of that, but here in Portugal, like, politics mostly exists in the internet. So just do what's right for you. In fact, Maria and I were talking about doing on our new upcoming podcast, doing an episode on that politics aspect of it, and that Portugal has many things that are similar, some that are different, but ultimately, just think about what's really important for you.
Yeah,
forget about politics. Forget about those things.
About this week. I've written about this very subject, and yeah, when you're in the cafe, no one thinks in the cafe in Portugal, I hope those people from the other party aren't in this cafe, do they?
Exactly.
No one cares in the cafe. In fact, what I've seen is a local old lady clipping the ear of the assistant mayor here and calling him a caralho, whatever that means. It's very down to earth, and nobody really cares that much. There's a healthy contempt for
I would correct your pronunciation, but I think you can assume that I'm not going to do that.
All right. Yeah, thank you. It's not an everyday concern. You're not avoiding people. There's a healthy contempt for politicians. There's a kind of grudging respect for the political system and the constitution. And we kind of leave it there because we've got other things to be getting on with, right? Like the weather, like the food, and the friendly people, which is such a wonderful thing. And I really hope it stays that way. Right.
Vitor, I think it can all boil down to peace of mind. People just want to have peace of mind. Don't have to worry about it. Go out, not have to worry about somebody doing something bad to them, because you see, even like from girls to old ladies alone in the middle of the street at night, and everything is fine. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Really good to know. Stay where you are, because I don't. Have you met Heather yet? Have you met Heather?
Of course, we've talked on the phone as well.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to make sure that north-south or Silver Coast and North connection is made. So let's give her a nice big round of applause and bring her onto the screen. Hola, boys! It's Heather Binder, everybody. How you doing, Heather?
Great. Hi. Can you see me? I think I'm frozen.
No, you're not. We can see.
No, yeah, I'm okay. Okay.
Move like butter.
Oh, there. It just caught up.
Okay, we've got you. Vitor, Heather, Vitor.
Hi.
Excellent. And oh, look at that. You got a little kid, a little baginho from Vitor this evening. How are you? How are things going?
Oh, thank you.
Have you had a spike of interest, Heather, in this last little while?
I have. Yes, definitely. the calendar is booked up quite a bit for
Good for you.
November, and yeah, lots of calls, lots of interest. A lot of people that have been sort of interested and working on it, but now are feeling more like, okay, it's time to kick it into gear. Let's move forward. Let's do it.
Yes.
And I would love to say it's not politically motivated.
It wouldn't be true.
It wouldn't be true for a lot of people. I didn't move here politically motivated 3 years ago, but I get it. So there's a lot going on all the way around the whole world for sure. But I like Vitor's idea that it's just online. I'm not sure that's true, but needless to say, I believe it's time to come together and help everybody, like you said, just have a better life. That's really all we want, all of us.
Small caveat there. I do say it is only online as long as you don't mention it in public. Like nobody does. But the moment you make, if you speak in favor or criticize someone's, even their opinions or whatever they said, if someone on the opposite side, quote unquote, is there,
that's it.
There can be some confusion, but most people don't care about it, don't bother about it. They just go about their lives and nobody mentions politics.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a lot of public service to do here for the two of you. Wait, what's going on here, Sis Thunderdog? If this is really live, then say Antwerp. Can we do that after 3? 3, 2, 1. Antwerp.
There we go.
Yes, Carl, that's a great opinion you just said. That's definitely what I agree with. Yes.
He's a bot. He's sounding like a bot now. Right. As you can see,
sorry, I didn't understand the request. Can you repeat?
Stop it, Vito. The question's on the screen, and I think we can take it for granted. We're all big Portugal fans. It's very difficult for us to answer that question. Is Portugal still a good place to move to without just saying, yeah, of course it is. What are you waiting for? When people are asking you, what are you telling them they need to know about? Where do you start, Heather, when you begin to interview people with them about their move to Portugal?
Sure. So my background is real estate in Arizona as a real estate broker, loan processor, all of that. Primarily commercial and residential real estate broker for several decades. So to me, these conversations are conversations. Yes. I really hate one size fits all type answers because Portugal is not for everyone. People will ask me, should I buy before I rent? Should I whatever? And it's like, it depends on your situation. For me, I moved my elderly parents. I moved animals. It made sense for me to buy for very specific reasons. But, in general, it's not a bad idea to test the waters. And as far as areas and things like that and rent for the first year, it just depends. So ultimately what I do is really fact find, just ask questions, find out people's lifestyle, what it is they're really, what it is they're looking for, as well as, what their main motivators are. And, I don't like people not being happy here. I don't like people not seeing the real picture. So I try to bring that as much as I can. And definitely for us, we love Portugal. We enjoy Portugal. And we're happier to be here than we would be in Phoenix right now, for sure.
Excellent. Olá, meus amigos, says João Ernesto do Norte. Como está esta noite? Very good, John. Excellent. You must be on that course of Maria's, I'm guessing, there as well. Yeah, that's a really good point, Heather. It's you don't want to missell. You want people to be happy. There's no point in doing that. And this part of the purpose of this evening is to actually be able to talk to people and see people and relate to them, or not, as the case may be, and find out who you might be a good fit for you. I mean, and that, I'm sure you, Heather and Vitor, if you don't think it's going to work with people, you tell them so, don't you? And maybe refer them to somebody else.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Not every client is meant to work with you, and that's part of, I do a free, discovery call, chat with people. And I think that's, part of what that process is just getting to know how they work, how you work, and how you can work together, and how you can best be of help to people and be of service to people or not,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
T-Duck adding happier here than anywhere in the US, not just Arizona. And if you want to book one of those calls with Heather, bootsonthegroundpt.com, and you'll be doing like a bespoke deep dive webinar, won't you, of your own, Heather, soon? So people should keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, we're I'm just waiting. There's some updates to our packages page. And as soon as that comes out and I get with you, Carl, we're going to get some stuff scheduled. And Vitor, actually, I'll be in touch with you too, because I thought it might be
Men of the moment. It's gonna, excellent.
Yeah, some agents, right? Have some other experts on. So yeah, we'll be doing a free webinar soon that will help a lot of people, because I'm finding just a ton of people want this initial intro information. So I thought, okay, let's do a webinar instead of 800 calls. Not that you shouldn't schedule a call, but for a lot of people, it's at the point where a webinar is going to be really, really helpful, or lead you to believe, or lead you to the fact that, okay, yeah, I do want to schedule a call with this person or whatnot. So,
absolutely.
So yeah, we'll be in touch. If anybody wants an invite, they can email Heather at bootsonthegroundpt.com, and I'll be happy to add you to our invite list for the webinar. We don't have a date set yet, but we will soon.
Very good. Okay, to come this evening, we still have Antonio Barbosa, the man in the Mino. He'll be joining us. Bit of Tony time at 1:15 the hour, and then we'll have a social where we might have a glass of Portuguese wine from 8:30, where James will be waiting for us a little bit later on, in about 20 minutes time over there on our weekly hangout, where we chill out, take it easy. Sometimes it's a troubleshooting session. Sometimes it's just a plain social, shooting the breeze, chewing the fat, that sort of thing. But it's always very informal and comfortable, and a place where you can relax and just hang out with other gumpers every Tuesday evening at 8:30. Now, somebody asked the question, Heather, is that a parrot? Can we see? Now, I'm not sure if we can see, but I do want to ask you about moving animals. You mentioned it, moving animals to Portugal. That's another angle here. People might want to consider Portugal. Can we move our cats, dogs, and parrots here to Portugal?
I don't know if you can see her. Shay,
where are you?
Oh, you know what? She's at the bottom of the cage playing.
Oh, okay.
So her name is Shay. She's an African gray Congo, and she's a teenager. She's about 17 or so now, and I rescued her. She was about 5. And do you want to say hi? Okay, come here.
She's coming.
No,
that's not a parrot.
That's a weird bird.
That's the strangest parrot I have ever seen. No disrespect.
Hi, baby.
Oh, hello, look.
This is Ophelia. She's so cute, isn't she?
She is. Oh,
sorry, I didn't I didn't pick you up in the best way, and my microphone went flying.
Yes,
but needless to say, yeah. So
hold on. Sarah wants to just jump back on very quickly. Sarah, thank you so much. Take care. Bye for now. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye, Sarah. Bye, Sarah.
That's a funny old setup on the screen there, but cheers, Sarah. Thank you very much. Bringing pets, then, not a difficult thing to do. Bringing your furry family members over to Portugal.
It's very difficult. It's actually probably one of the most stressful parts.
Okay.
Who offers some good consulting, some good advice on that. I'm not a professional mover, but I do definitely have some advice that people have found really useful. And I did move my parrot, who is an endangered species, so that was loads of fun. And she did have to go in cargo and through the whole process with the USDA and all of that. And then we also brought 2 pugs, one of which is right here.
Oh, she is so comfy right now.
I know, she's actually being really cute. She's always really cute, actually, but she's not licking me at the moment, which is nice.
Yes.
I've dealt with some challenges with travel and kind of how best to do that. And a lot of people have found value in that. That's part of what we offer with the visa package, because it's kind of soup to nuts from the beginning all the way through to you have all the things and you're settled,
I think you taught me that phrase, from the soup to the nuts. It means the whole 9 yards, doesn't it? To use another
Pretty
American
much. Yeah. People don't want it's confusing enough of a process to have 800 to different people to deal with on top of it, and this way you're dealing primarily with myself as well as Sarah, my Portuguese associate that works with me. And then we're referring you to great vetted people as well for things like real estate, people like Vitor and other folks, different parts of the country. So it works really well.
Yep, very
Sarah,
good.
we refer people to Spartan FX and all sorts of places. So yeah, it's great.
Just to clarify, this is Ophelia the pug, obviously not.
This is Ophelia the pug, not available.
All right, not available. Oh, however, other dogs are available, and you're doing a lot of good work in the local community around Caldas Serena. Homing dogs, right? This is an important message to share.
Yes. So my husband and I found this little dog, literally just running up our street a few weeks back. And I actually did an excellent job of adopting her out to some clients of mine that just moved to town actually and live in my town. And that was great. We got her fixed. Ready Leonardo Association shelter helped us get her fixed. And that's awesome. So there's plenty of dogs. Ready Leonardo has.
Ophelia's looking to go fully asleep in just a moment.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
And has the little kitten been homed now?
No, the kitten needs a home. So that was my next thing. So about a month ago.
Not too loud.
About a month ago, my tenants, I have tenants downstairs. Oh, big yawn. And they found a literal newborn kitten in the dumpster, which is sad, but she's okay. She had the umbilical cord and everything. And so she's about 5 weeks now. We just took her to the vet, and look at this tongue.
Oh, okay. Look.
I know. It's so cute.
Vitor and I can do that as well, Colin. Carry on talking.
Actually, sorry to interrupt, but on that topic, I'm now at my parents' home, and my brother also rescued like a kitty that was just a few days old and had to feed it with a bottle, and he had a sock with hot water and whatever in there. Now she has some kind of kitty autism. There's something definitely broken with her, but she's a great cat.
Hey, autism is a special power.
Yeah, come on.
Could be. Yeah. Exactly.
In its own way, it can be.
But she's like a broken cat. She doesn't act like a normal cat would, and it's fun to watch.
Very good. Okay, so lots of homes needed for cats and dogs.
Lots of homes needed. Yeah, absolutely, and lots of great animals available for adoption. I adopted my kitty here. He's amazing. Really great kitty. Also from Ready Leonardo Association, which is great. And I have several clients. I have some clients I moved here that actually walk dogs for them and everything. So
and you have your meetup. Heather is also the host of a meetup in Caldas Serena. If you're thinking of that part of the Silver Coast or Portugal for that matter, yes, a weekly meetup as well for Heather.
Not weekly, but we were doing monthly. Now I think we're kind of doing quarterly at the moment.
Okay. A quarterly meetup.
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes. We might pick it up more again. Different times of the year, you get different levels of response.
Very good. Okay, so you host that as well. Thank you so much. Stick around because I'd like you to meet Antonio as well in a moment. So we need to make some room on the screen.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Vitor, for being here.
Let me just say, big shout out to Antonio Barbosa. When I was still trying to figure out how this whole real estate thing started, I think it was you that introduced me to me. I would call him all the time. Hey, how do I do this? It got to a point where it's like, hey, man, don't you have a mentor? So I definitely bothered him a lot. And thank you so much, Antonio. You're a great guy. And hopefully you can see now that I've improved a lot. So thank you.
How about that? Maybe you owe him lunch. I don't know, Vitor. Okay. All right. Take care. Bye for now, mate. Love to Maria as well. All right. There you go. Portugal Door, and of course the European Allies way of learning Portuguese as well, which you can see on the screen there. Ophelia has been such an excellent addition to this evening's proceeding. Let's bring Antonio onto the screen. Have you met Antonio before?
Of course, yes.
Oh, okay, so you know Antonio as well. Okay, fair enough. Everyone knows everyone here. Antonio, good evening to you. Twice in a week. How are you, my friend?
Hello.
Oh,
the man in the
hello. Hi, Carl.
Hello. How are you? You're sounding especially sexy this evening, Antonio, if you don't mind me saying so.
I do feel sexy, you know.
I didn't ask you that. I just said you sounded sexy. There we were.
Happy hour, Carl. It's happy hour. There we go.
There we go. That's where we met
Nice.
earlier, a couple of days ago. It was only a couple of days ago, wasn't it? And you called in to San Martino de Porto. You didn't stay long enough to see these views of it. Maybe next time, Antonio. And you got some lovely real estate to show us tonight as well. You often do have some amazing properties, some beautiful properties, and some outstanding value up there. Tell us, if you will, just a little bit of a beginner's guide to the Minho, to the north of Portugal. For people who are watching this, curious about Portugal, what should they know about the north, please, Antonio?
Well, first, I got to say, don't come if you don't want to fall in love. Period. Don't come. So
with Portugal, you mean? You're not talking about yourself again. You're talking about Portugal, right?
No, yeah, that too. But don't come to the Nino. Well, if you don't want to fall in love, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, what can I say? If you are a lover of the riverside, countryside, mountainside, ocean side, feeling good side, happy life,
Yeah.
this is where most people are discovering it, Carl. You know,
Yeah.
everyone knows Lisbon, Porto, Algarve. We've been here for a long time, and people are discovering it. You know, because they want to be maybe the climate. You know, it's the four seasons, for example, the green, the rain, the just the whole environment. I think that's what makes it unique, and the food. And this is not me saying it, because I hate food. I don't like to eat or drink or anything.
You just have to take the advice of other people on this matter, right?
Yeah. So don't listen to me. Even the Portuguese that live in Lisbon or in south of Portugal or other parts, they say the Minho. There's certain things here about the food, the quality, not to take away from any other parts. The tascas, right? When you have the vinho verde, this is the only place you can have vinho verde. Okay, so not anywhere else. You can get Toriga Nacional, Toriga Franca, Syrah, lots of other grape varieties anywhere in Portugal.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the home of Vinho Verde up there. Michael's here. Good evening to you. Well, actually, before we go there, Jackie melted when she heard your voice. And also, Michael wants to know where to get a microphone like yours so it can happen with his voice as well, I think. Boa noite, amigo, she says, just got home from dinner at our local bar. This is a lovely little snapshot of Portuguese life. The bar there is O Cacador, or Caçador, possibly. Cat had carne alentejo. It's a long way for a clam to swim. Now, even though you don't like food, could you tell us why it is that in the inland areas of the Alentejo, they do have a coast as well. That's why the clams are in with the pork, right? Because they do have an Atlantic frontage as well.
That's right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, okay. So it doesn't make so much sense when you're over near Spain, but definitely does when you're on the Atlantic coast there. Now, you've got a lovely property to show us. Do you still get excited? You've got a background in the real estate industry, of course, Heather. Do you still get excited looking at property?
Oh yeah, I love looking at property. Real estate. You're once you're addicted, you're addicted.
Okay, well, let's have a look at this one then. Talk us through this. I'll do the slideshow, Antonio, if you can tell us about this beauty here that you found for us. Oh, my word.
Sure. This is a beautiful home. And I sent this to Terrence. We want him to do a video of this. Okay. It was a great, thank you for introducing him to us on Sunday, and Ben. And definitely I've sent this because this is one of those kind of properties that I'm not sure if it'll be on the market too long anyway. Remember,
yeah, right.
We had this one property that I was with you on last week on Tuesday, or I had a visit on Tuesday. That's right. Yes. We did last week, right? A week ago. It was on the market for a day and a half, and it, 625,000 euros. And it's not about, it's about if the property is priced right, it sells
just like that. Yeah.
And this property is a beauty. It's a gem. 19th century home, completely renovated by the famous, renowned, he's no longer with us, architect. Does the name Michael Ockett ring a bell?
I don't know that name, but
British,
I see his work. Really, I mean, this is beautiful, isn't it? What's going on in this? What detail has he added here? Is this the basement? Is this
that's the ground floor, because it's a 3-level home. Because it's composed. It's actually 3 en suites, spacious, big. And then you have a 4th one, which is a master suite, which is the whole top of the house. I mean, it's humongous. And there's even a maid's quarters, and these are high ceilings, wall-to-wall glass, etc. In the and it's just beautifully done. The architect,
really is.
that's the upstairs. That's the top bedroom.
Some James Bond business going on there. Love that.
Yeah, it's got your heated swimming pool, the pool house. It's got the maid's quarters as well. A full. So then the pool house with its own. There you go. You can see it's a beautiful 19th century manor house. Okay, all
That's
in stone, beautifully renovated. It's even got an 18th century mill. Okay, on the property. It's a nice grounds.
Right. Okay. Wow, look at this. So that's the pool at night time. Fabulous place, this one, Antonio. Could give us an idea of the location
And
then.
it's located, where it's located? It's located about less than 7 minutes from the beach. Okay, so you're talking about a beach area called Vila do Conde, which is about 20 minutes from Porto.
Excellent.
Okay, so it's a great location. I mean, as well, near Vila do Conde, the Povo de Varzim, that area there. Great fish, too.
Yes.
There's a casino. We have the Povo de Varzim has a casino there. It's nice in the summer. A lot of people from Braga, Guimarães, interior parts of Portugal like that area. People generally further south from there, like Porto, would love coming up to the Minho, but the parts from interior wise, Vila Nova de Famalicão, Braga, Guimarães, etc. They love the area of Vila do Conde and Povo. So it's a beauty. We're going to be having it all done up, or the presentation. Everything's about presentation. And one of the things, definitely getting Terrence to do his thing, what he does best with Ben. I mean, there's not.
This would be beautiful.
And you know what the price tag on this house is? And when you look at these kind of homes, it's about the location, right? Because if this was in another part of Portugal, it would be a €2 million home or €3 million home, whatever. This is
Absolutely.
1,247,000 euros. And
Incredible.
There's a data to back it up for not only the size of the construction, the plot size, again, 7 minutes from the ocean. Okay, there's a value.
And how far from Porto Airport would you say? How quickly could you get to the airport?
Porto Airport is 15 minutes because Porto is Vila do Conde is literally after Povo de Varzim, and that's like literally 15 minutes from Maia Airport, not even.
Yeah, Vila do Conde, of course, you can get to Ponte Lima.
It has metro. Vila do Conde has a metro. Vila do Conde
doesn't it, to Porto? Yes.
You don't even need a train, the normal train. The metro actually goes to Povo de Varzim, so you have the metro there. Vila do Conde, so getting into Porto on the metro line, it's the yellow line, the same one that goes to the airport. I've taken it as well, so I know what I'm talking about. And it is easy access into the center, of course.
Very, very good.
Phenomenal home.
And find out more, get in touch with you at Infinite Solutions. If actually you sent me the link to your business card, your virtual card, so I'll make sure people have access to that as well. So what's coming up for you? Like I said before, we have our own favorite things about Portugal that we say to other people. What are you finding out from people, clients that have already settled here, people calling you? What are their concerns? What's going on the grapevine, Antonio, from a client perspective?
I think people are moving around all over the world. We help people not only move to Portugal, Carl. We help people move around the world and invest.
Right.
One of the things I've learned is that people are always diversified. You're not a tree. You could move around. So people are moving around. Digital nomads. Portugal is just attractive right now for a variety of reasons. We know this. I mean, everybody's that been down here already said it, so I'm not going to, preach to the choir about it. You know what? Don't come if you don't want to fall in love. That's all I got to say. And you know what? It's not about, years ago. Remember at the beginning of the year, a year ago, people were, because of the golden visa or NHR.
Yes, it's over. NHR's gone. That's it for Portugal. Yeah.
Now they have something else to complain about. Because of it. You know what? Just get your butt over here and see it. Like it, don't like it, leave. Go to Spain, go to Italy, go to Georgia, go to Vietnam. There's so many beautiful countries. Go to Thailand. So many beautiful countries in the world. Find your place in the sun. Maybe it's Portugal, as a few other people have said it, and it's a great point to point out. It's not perfect. It may not be perfect for you, But I'll tell you
Yes.
what, Carl, it's perfect for me and many people. And that's
Yeah.
what makes it so I don't have any plans on going anywhere else, my friend.
So
I mean,
true.
like, you get into a country where you don't have to worry about, I mean, it's not perfect by any means, nothing is perfect. Perfect doesn't exist, but it's perfect for us. And I love it. I
Yes.
mean, and that's, and I think what people generally, they still look for that. And I can only use my own example, if I may. And that is when I was born in Africa. Okay. So we migrated to the United States very young. The same things that people look for now, and small families too. It's not just, retirees. Portugal is not just for millionaires. People have
Yeah.
that idea. Yes, there are millionaire homes, and it is. But we went to the United States. Okay. I'm a U.S. citizen. I lived there for 28 years. And what did my parents want for us? They wanted safety. They wanted education. They wanted health care because they didn't want to come to Portugal. We were in Africa and Angola, which was a beautiful country. But then all of a sudden, a few people decided to wanted to blow it up and, fight against each other, and a civil war breaks out. So what do I got to do? Pick up and go, right? So we went to the United States, Carl. And, what a beautiful country that is too. But it just didn't fit. And my reasons were personal, to be closer to my mother and father. But I started to see that, what? I'm much better off here. So you know what? What did I do? Move. And that's find your place. And that's where I'm better off, is here, without a doubt. And I think that's what people try it out for 3 months, 6 months. You can come into Portugal for 90 days. Do it. Don't come for a week or two. Come for 90 days. If you owe it, I think you should go to any country you plan on moving, stay there for 90 days and visit.
It's a good idea. And buy Antonio lunch. And for that matter, come to Silver Coast, buy me Heather lunch. We'll spill the beans. And Antonio will up in the north as well. Now, we've got Paul Richards. Good to see you, Paul. I've only got a couple of minutes left of this, but there is a hangout afterwards if you want to join us for that and talk more sort of socially, casually. Will they take a part exchange, Mr. Antonio? He's asking. That is not a picture. It's a picture window at the end. This is an open country as well, isn't it? That's something we didn't say about this property. He's interested, I think, in that. But maybe you have to talk to Antonio a bit later on.
Part exchange, cash or check, and it's the funds have to be verified. And these are the kind of properties, I will tell you, that we get a lot. And this is something for real estate professionals. When they want to look at properties, verify that people have funds. Otherwise, waste time. Why waste time? People want to buy something. They're not doing me a favor. We can help them. Move them. But
no time wasters, no time wasters. And we know Paul's good for it anyway. He's got that available if he wants to. So move on that. It ain't going to be around for long, Paul, that beautiful property there. So thank you, Antonio, for being here. Thank you, Heather. We've got the details for Antonio, which I'll put on the screen, the link tree for you. Any final words before we go and have a glass of wine? Ladies first, Heather, what do you have to say before we close on this evening?
Just not everybody pays cash. Mortgages are available. I do have a great mortgage broker that can help out. I did get a loan when I moved here, but certainly certain properties maybe aren't going to accept financing, but definitely plenty will in other price ranges for sure. And that's it, I would say. And I guess I'm going to see you in the morning.
Yes, indeed. See you tomorrow morning. Get a good night's sleep. You might come and join us for a little one for the road in just a moment. And you can see there the two contact details for Antonio are there, the link tree. And you can see just there sandwiched against the ticker tape and Antonio's contact details. Boots on the ground, pt.com. Watch out for Heather's upcoming webinar where she'll be going into her particular processes. But it's a bon night, amigos, from T-Duck. And to be serious about moving to Portugal, 3 months exploration is the minimum to back up what you said there, Antonio. We had a 1, a 2, and a 3 month search, and I think it went very well. Ciao as well from T-Duck. Thanks for joining us. Good evening to you. We'll play our closing sequence. Lots about Madeira on here, which we haven't even talked about. Azores, Madeira, another couple of beautiful parts of Portugal. See you in the morning with Heather. See you at the Hangout if you're joining us. And I will leave that link on the screen or just send me a message if you would like to be there. This has been great tonight. Thank you so much. Take care and bye for now.
Bye.
Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show at GMP. Hey, Gumpers.